Jai Hind students. So we were doing the second chapter, that is before the examination, and I explained up to here. Okay, so uh, now we are going to start the remaining portion of the chapter. Actually, what happened in the story that Mani went to a school clerk to get some important hints about the examination. Okay, and school clerk also told him to study this and that chapter. Okay, so he gave some hints. So Mani was also satisfied with the hints. Okay, and now what happens? Let's first study the chapter. Look at your books. These answers satisfied Mani greatly. On his way home, he smiled to himself and said that the 4 annas he had invested on brinjals was not after all a waste. Money felt important. He secretly pitied his classmates who had to work without valuable hints to lighten their labor. He felt he ought to share his good secrets with Swaminathan without divulging the source. While going home from school, they stopped for a moment at the junction of Vinayak Madali and Grove Streets before parting ways. Mani said, "Young man, have you any idea what we are getting for the exam?" "Nothing outside the covers of the textbooks." Mani ignored the humor. "Now listen to me carefully. Last night, from 7 to 10, do you know what I did?" "Munched groundnuts." "Idiot, don't joke. I made 2 maps of India, 2 of Africa, and 1 map of Europe." "Say all the maps in the atlas." "Maybe," Mani said, not quite liking the remark, "but I did it with some definite purpose. It may be that I know 1 or 2 questions, but don't let the other fellows know anything about it. I may get into trouble." Swaminathan was taken in by the other's seriousness and inferred a moral. Reaching home, Swaminathan felt rather dull. His mother was not at home. Granny here means his grandmother. Okay, I told you earlier. So Granny was not in a talkative mood. He related to her some exciting incidents of the day. "Granny, guess what happened in our school today? A boy in first C stabbed another in the forearm with a penknife." "What for?" asked Granny mechanically. Now I will explain the whole page. Listen it very carefully. Now what happened? Mani was having important hints of the exam. Okay, and what he did, he went to Swaminathan and he only shared those hints with Swaminathan only, and said him that don't share these important hints to anybody. Okay, are you getting me? So he also told him that I practiced 2 maps of Africa, 2 maps of India, and 1 map of Europe. So these are some important hints of the exam, and you should not share to anybody. I may get into trouble. Okay, so next, then Swaminathan went to his home, और वो फिर अपने घर पे आ जाता है, and shared some incidents with his grandmother. Okay, now what incidents? First, he told that one boy stabbed another boy in my school with a penknife. And stabbed is a word which means maar dena, ठीक है, to hurt someone. So he said that one boy hurt another boy with a penknife. Okay, so it is up to here. Now the next, Yes, I'm reading now. They were enemies. Finding that it fell flat, he brought out the big event of the day. Granny, Granny, here is another thing. एक और incident है. He want to actually, Swaminathan want to share another incident. And what the incident is? Let's see. The headmaster knocked his toe against a door post and oh, there was such a lot of blood. He went limping about the school the whole day. He couldn't take the third period here actually, and so they had leave the lucky fellows. Is it? Asked Granny. Swaminathan perceived to his intense disgust that his granny was in one of her dull and sleepy moods. Actually, his grandmother was not interested in listening all these things. Okay, so he strayed near the swing cradle of his little brother. Though at first he had been skeptical of his brother's attraction and possibilities, now day by day he was finding him more interesting. Okay, actually Swaminathan had a little brother which was 6 months old. The little one was now 6 months old and was more charming. His attainments were he made shrill noises whenever he saw anybody. Now these are some activities of his little brother. Thrust his fists into his mouth and damped his round arms up to the elbow, vigorously kicked the air and frequently displayed his bare red gums in a smile. So Swaminathan loved every inch of him. Okay, he would spend hours balancing himself on the edge of the cradle and trying to make him say Swaminathan. The little one would gurgle and Swaminathan would shriek. Would shriek, pretending that it was the other's futile version of his name. Now he peered in and was disappointed to find the baby asleep. He cleared his throat aloud and coughed in the hope of waking him. But the baby slept. He waited for a moment and tiptoed away, reminding himself that was best to leave the other alone, as he had a knack of throwing the house in turmoil for the first half hour whenever he awoke from sleep. So now listen the explanation. Now what happened? Swaminathan also shared another incident. First he told that one boy has hurt another boy in his school with a penknife. Then he told that headmaster also hurt himself in his toe against a door and there was a lot of blood. Okay, but what he actually felt that his granny was not interested in listening all these things. Okay, and then what happened? Swami strayed. There is a word strayed. Okay, strayed means you can say move. Okay, ठीक है. So Swaminathan moved away near the swing cradle. Swing cradle means बच्चों का जो झूला होता है उसको कहते हैं हम स्विंग क्रेडल. ओके, पालना जिसे कहते हैं हम. सो he went to his little brother and he was just 6 months old and was very interesting and charming. Okay, now now some description about his little brother. What the baby actually used to do, he made shrill means high noise, make so much noise. And what he did, he put his fist क्या होती है बच्चों? मुट्ठी. Okay, his fist into his mouth and he damped is also a word here which means to make wet. He also put his fingers or hands into his mouth and his arms also and kicked in the air vigorously. Vigorously means with a great effort. ठीक है? So likewise little ones do all these activities you might have seen. Okay, so he also kicked his legs in the air and also smiled, showing his red gums. Okay, so Swaminathan loved each activity of his little brother, and then Swaminathan played with his little brother and made him say his name Swaminathan. But the little one was not able to speak properly, so he just make a sound, gurgle sound. Okay, when we gargle, so that sound is actually related to baby's gurgle, babble, or we can say it is also written here, gurgle, a baby's babble. So and finally the baby slept, and Swami left the baby asleep. He actually don't want to disturb the baby, and tiptoed means to walk on actually footprints, actually on your toes, lifting your heels. Okay, so he went away silently and he left the baby asleep, and and so Swaminathan, we can say that he enjoyed all the activities of his little brother, and finally his little brother was asleep. He went away and he enjoyed a lot with his little brother, and whenever he was awoke, he made a turmoil. A turmoil actually is a word here which means, you can see, chaos. chaos का मीनिंग होता है बच्चों एक तरह से शोर शराबा करना या डिस्टरबेंस करना. तो whenever his little brother was awake, he played with him and he made a lot of noise, also his little brother as well. So this is the end of the story. Okay.